My name is Lucas Wilgenburg. Welcome to the Wilgenburg West Heifer Facility. I purchased this facility about 7 years ago. It was a running dairy. We continued to dairy on it for about a year, and then we had the high-speed reel approach us and told us that they'd be coming and splitting the facility essentially in two. We were able to convert the facility into a heifer lot. We wanted to do something with the heifer facility that was economical. The setup we did with a vacuum, very simple. The lanes are built strong enough to take the weight of the vacuum tanker. That's the most important thing. We simply run the vacuum tanker down the lanes, capture the slurry, and place it right on top of compost rows. We had a turner already owned and had turned compost. We've never added slurry on top of it. So if I say the biggest challenge we had was trying to get a slurry product to stay on the row. And it was more an operator learning curve. Being able to create a product that's workable, it allows us to essentially have it to cross the field more evenly and to be able to put it to the fields that we need it in. We selected a local vendor. They're about 5 miles from our dairy. That was a big part of the reason we went with them, just the proximity and ease of getting parts and assistance. The biggest reduction on greenhouse gases comes from reducing or actually eliminating our slurry hole. We no longer have slurry sitting on the place for more than what it sits in the lanes from out of the cows. We capture it in a vacuum tank very quickly. We can incorporate it right away into the compost, and you're reducing your engine hours on big equipment dramatically as well. So that has an additional benefit for your greenhouse gases. Other environmental benefits, the reduction of large engines moving around, but another huge benefit is just being able to agronomically apply a fertilizer across our almonds, our tomatoes, and even our row crops. The nice thing about compost is we're creating a very consistent product. We can take samples on rows, and currently we use a lot of this compost on my dad's ranch up north in Chowchilla. We can place this on his almonds. We applied for the AMMP project in order to better the facility. The AMMP project had a better process to do what we are already doing. In the process, we were able to also make our facility more efficient, better for the environment, reduce our greenhouse gases tremendously, and that just seemed like something that was right in line with the direction we wanted to head. The AMMP application process is not 100% easy. I was very happy to work with Paul Souza. He assisted me with a lot of the calculating and some of the questions as well. He introduced me to a spreadsheet that allowed me to do almost the entire application process myself. There is a fair amount of detailed work to be done on the application. One of the most difficult details was calculating what your greenhouse gas reduction is. There's a spreadsheet available to do that. Other details such as getting quotes for vendors and figuring out what your project is going to cost, having a good game plan ahead of time. These are all things that you want to do before you start a project. It was easy enough that I could complete the application myself. We received funds to help pay for a vacuum tanker as well as some concrete that allowed us to compost in a much cleaner and better manner. We redid some lanes to make them thicker so that they were able to support the weight of a heavy vacuum tanker. That's an important thing to think about if you're converting a facility that has very thin concrete. The vacuum tanker will break it and it will essentially tear the facility up. It was a very easy process. We contacted the local vendor. They contacted Lowen directly. They were able to do most of the delivery and brought the vacuum tanker out to us, had a salesperson come out and actually instruct us on how to operate the vacuum tanker as well. Putting the concrete in takes a little bit of work. We worked with a contractor to help us build it. Converting from a dairy site into a heifer lot, we had to work on the county permitting as well as Air Board and Water Board, and we were able to achieve those permits. It's not always an easy process. We had some help with the engineering firm in order to make that all work. The AMMP was very good at getting funds back to us in a timely manner. We had to submit what our costs were in a provided Excel spreadsheet. Once we filled out the spreadsheet and submitted it, we received funds in about 30 to 45 days after submittal. It was a very fast process and we appreciated that. I would say it would be a 9 out of 10. It wasn't the easiest process. I would advise to talk to someone who has worked through the process already at the get-go. There's a few different spreadsheets as well as just going through the questions. Once you have a little bit of insight and direction, then you can go and look at your facility and see how these things could potentially benefit you. I would say you probably need to start about a year in advance in order to get the approval. The application probably takes about a month, and then the approval process is another couple of months, and then you have to line up contractors and be ready to operate and build your projects. When you're working on your AMP project, it's very important to work on a team. Essentially, you're gonna need some type of engineer to allow you to work on the permitting side of things, to even design some of the things you'll need to provide some monies ahead of receiving that financing from AMP. So making sure that you have financing available ahead of time is important. I'm a dairy producer. I love doing what I do. I also love improving on things. When we have projects like AMP that allow us to do what we love doing in a better and more environmentally friendly manner, it makes us enjoy what we do.